At Mason City Schools, we believe in living out our values. We have three big rocks, and the center rock is inclusive excellence. Inclusive excellence is so important to who we are because it's about the spirit of who we are. It's about people. It's about their stories. It's about calling people and inviting people in to the conversation. Not just the easy conversations, but the hard conversations, the ones that make us grow together. As we think about inclusive excellence at Mason City Schools, it's not new work. It's work that's ongoing. It's work that continues on before us and past us.
Inclusive excellence is a journey. We're grateful to the staff, students, families, and community members who recognized almost 20 years ago that Mason was changing from a predominantly white rural district, and that in turn, our schools and the people who serve our learners and their families needed to change too. The evolution of our work and the ongoing partnerships we have built within our community inform who we are as an organization and where we are going. Each of us have a role to play in ensuring that each learner feels emotionally and physically safe, supported, and empowered.
One thing that we understand deeply here at Mason City Schools is inclusive excellence is important, but it's work that's never finished. It's work that's ongoing. It's work that started before us and will continue on past us. It's messy at times, but it's deeply important to our success as a community. And we hope that as you lean in and learn more about the principles of inclusive excellence here at Mason City Schools, you learn more of the tools and the strategies to live out diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. And hopefully those tools will allow us to live out our values at Mason City Schools.
We celebrate and honor the rich identities in our learning community.
Our identity is the way that we make sense of the world. It's who we are. Our learners come to us with rich identities, and it is our job to both see and value the whole child. One tool we use to grasp a deeper understanding of diversity is the identity wheel. The identity wheel organizes the different traits and facets of who we are, beginning with our core, our personality, our disposition, whether we're introverted or extroverted, those things that we find out by ourselves by interacting with the world and interacting with relationships that we have with other people. That makes up our identity, and so the identity wheel allows us to have a deeper understanding for who our students are and who we are as we show up for them.
We design educational experiences to make sure that each learner thrives.
When we think about equity and equality, equality is more about sameness, making sure everyone has a balance and the same thing. Equity is about opportunity and access, really ensuring that each of our learners have the access and opportunity to an educational experience that's going to allow them to thrive. So when we think about an equitable design, we are really thinking about what are we doing within the learning experience that allows our students to have access and opportunity to be able to thrive. One of the ways to understand equity is to visualize the fence and baseball metaphor. Equal footing does not ensure access to the game. When we think of the fence and what we need to do to design an equitable experience, we may need to adjust and adapt what footing that our students or our children are standing on. One may say that equity, access, and justice would mean that there's no fence there at all and that the students are a part of the game.
We intentionally build relationships and empathy so that everybody belongs.
When we think of the basic needs of humans, safety, connectedness, a sense of belonging, we have to think about those same needs as our learners come into the learning environment. What are we doing to build relationships with our students, to connect them to each other so that there's a sense of belonging? What are we doing to cultivate empathy so that our students are thinking beyond their own hearts and really caring for someone else? What are we doing to cultivate empathy in ourselves so that we're leaning into understanding what our students' needs are? A well-known developmental theory, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, also in line with the First Nation perspective of the human progression of basic needs and how humans need to fulfill those needs at the basic level in order to be available to learn and to really pull on that critical thinking, problem solving, creativity. So when we're designing learning in our environments, it's important that we make sure that the environments are physically, emotionally safe, that there's a sense of belonging and empathy so that our learners are available to learn and pursue worthy challenges.
We step up against bias and racism in our actions, policies, and practices.
It's not enough to just say that we're not biased. We actually have to do work on ourselves and identify any prejudice or stereotypes that may exist. Because bias is not about the person, it's about their behavior. So what are we doing to be able to identify those spaces in ourselves where we can grow so that we can really take care of the people around us? It's not enough to say that we're not racist. What are we doing to identify disparities within our policies and actions and practices to really be able to get at some systemic change and to be able to really see the people around us in their full humanity? When we are anti-bias and anti-racist, it allows us to create a just environment for our students. Some strategies we use in our district to step up to bias are interrupt, question, educate, and echo. When we do step up and use our voice, it makes a difference.
As you've learned, as part of our Inclusive Excellence work, we really focus around the DEIJ principles, the diversity, equity, inclusion, justice principles. And as we do that and we learn how to navigate our world with this lens, there will be hard conversations, and those conversations lead to actions. They lead to conviction. And I want to remind all of us, as we have those conversations, there is a time for safe spaces to have those, and then as we build our relationships with each other, and as we become honest with each other, then we become brave together, and we move into that brave space together. So let me give you an example. As we've talked as a district about, for example, anti-racism or anti-bias work, those conversations can be tough conversations because we're unearthing years and years of hurt. And that reality is difficult. And as we move into that space as a community, those are times when we need to have brave conversations. We need to use the principles that you learned here to help us move forward from conversation to action to lifestyle. So I encourage you to continue to lean in, even when it's tough, to have those conversations, because we will become stronger as a community.